A friend reminded me this week of a story in our Unitarian Universalist pocket guide. This is the little book that we give to new members so that they have a sense of the past and present. It's sort of like a list of further possibilities. And this story that's in the guide is a story about someone finding their way into this tradition already in progress. This is from Kay Montgomery. Some of you might know Kay. She says this, she says, I invented Unitarian Universalism all by myself, and I know many other people who have done this too. I did it, she says, I did it on buses traveling up and down Livernois Avenue in Detroit. I was 17, I was a working class Irish Catholic, living with my parents, attending a Jesuit college 10 miles away. The Jesuits would have been astonished, I suppose, to learn that this is what they had fashioned. A teenager trying to figure out what religion can be, whether it was even possible to be religious and honest, much less an actual member of an actual church. I thought not. Each day, that bus went within a half mile or so of the Unitarian Church in Detroit, but I didn't know it, she says, and if I had known it, it wouldn't have meant anything. A decade later, in another city, long after I'd left the church, I stumbled on a passage in a book that described Unitarian Universalism, and I was astonished. This thing I had invented actually existed with a richer version, with a religious and intellectual and cultural tradition. I couldn't have imagined all those details, but it was still identifiably mine. And then there was the experience so many of us have of coming home, of showing up and finding comfort and challenge, and people who insisted that I grow, of finding ideas that thrilled and scared me because they demanded so much, of finding a community of scrappy, smart, satisfying people who cared passionately about the community, about the tradition, about leaving their planet a better place, about each other, about making justice. There are so many different paths that lead into this house. That's the story Kay tells. That's the story. And what it says is, look, you absolutely can do this thing on your own, growing your soul and helping to heal the world. There's not a secret here that we're hiding. There's not an insight into how to be a person that I've got, which is not available to everybody else. You can do this work on your own. Spiritual practice and growth, marking the turning cycles of life, finding ways to paint your corner of the world more beautiful, seeking after and reflecting on your spiritual experience. So many of you invented Unitarian Universalism all on your own, sometimes privately in a family or a church or culture which didn't make room for you to be who you are. But what we do have is a community to do it together, to make harmonies that take more than one voice to sing them, community to travel together into an unknown and unknowable future so you don't have to do it all by yourself. Community to model for you how to grow old and to keep you young. We have a living tradition, a centuries-long project of memory and hope. Ancestors we look back to as we make our way forward. That's the invitation. No hidden wisdom, no power or privilege, no guilt or shame to control you, no escape from the beautiful and difficult reality of being alive and having to die. Only this, a community gathered to be who we are and become who we're called to be.